I don't know what happened to that video. We're going to call that part 1, and I'll use the date mid-August, or the harvest, or maybe I'll give it a name. I'll give it a title. You know, this video really is intended for a lot of the novice growers out there, but anyone that might want to pick up a point or two. But I would just like to, maybe I'll call it, let's see, any fig I can do, you can fig better, or anything I can do, you can do better. I think I'll name it that. And so this is part 1, or say part A, and then this would be part B or part 2. Okay. So I was talking to you about the similarities of, and I'll do this quickly. I don't know why the video shut off, so I want to do this quickly because I have so much more to show you. This is a work, and I wanted to show you just how similar it was to its parent, one of its parents, which is Celeste. And here you can see Celeste. Look at that. It's amazing, isn't it? And of course, you've seen Celeste in the earlier videos today, but they almost look alike, but they're not, and they're very different. I mean, in different characteristics. Let's just bite into this one. Very good. Always delicious, but honestly, and I know this for a fact, not as good as my Celeste variants. To be truthful, honestly, not even close. Okay, stick with Celeste. Prove Celeste and Celeste. But here's a lot of Peter's honey, and they've been ripening. I've been eating these too. And my son's been eating them as well. They're just beautiful. And this is my in-ground, this is my largest in-ground Ronde Bordeaux. And well, you can see for yourself. Let me get under the net here. So far, the birds have been very kind to me. I have an agreement with the birds, and the agreement is, well, it's a gentleman or a gentle ladies or a combination agreement, I want to say, these days. But I'll share with them. I certainly will share with them if they don't get carried away. And I do. I let them have quite a few, and they eat some, as long as they don't eat too many. Oh gosh, I broke that branch. It's hard to work the phone, and that's a perfectly ripe, I mean perfectly ripe Ronde Bordeaux. There's lots of perfectly ripe Ronde Bordeaux. Hey, Dad. Yeah, I'll add these to. Oh yeah. What are they? The tigers?
No.
Yeah, I'm having trouble. My first video just shut off for no reason. I'm worried that this one's going to shut off too. So okay. There's so much to show them. And the Celeste is the parent of this too, of tiger, and they're getting ripe. And they're beautiful. I've eaten some really, really, real. Look at that. Get off there. Okay, that's one of those, whatever the heck, the lantern flies. Spotted lantern. Okay, now this is the only tree that I don't see any ripe figs on yet, and this is Alma. But over here, I have a lot of figs getting ripe on the Malta Black. Beautiful, beautiful figs. And I've eaten some really, really good ones. They're fantastic. Let me devour this too. And over here, I've got some very, very large, and they are larger, the Madeira for some reason, which is, of course, just another Party Chicago type or Mount Etna type. I'm fighting so many forces here, but these are really larger than your typical Mount Etna type, and very delicious. It's a very unique variety. I don't call it a variety, but variant. The Mount Etna types, and I've talked about it before in my other videos. Here's something I'm very proud of. These little trees are doing really well. We'll talk about it. Here's one of the trees that I'm very proud of. This This belonged to my pop. I've talked about it before. Some 30 years ago or so, I made it a gift to him. I sent away to California for it. And in those days, you had to do stuff like that. And it's a Celeste. And it's one of the best cultivars I've ever had. It just produces delicious figs over and over again. And I've told the story about this, so I won't do it again. But this is only a couple years old. Next year, I mean, there's so many figs on it. And so many have been picked already, which you've seen. Just in the containers, I mean, it's loaded. And I've picked so many, and there's more here to pick. I should have come out here first. But anyway, it's just a wonderful tree that I just love so much. Of course, this one is one of my favorites, the Ronde Bordeaux. But you can see they're all really producing. So let me put you on pause. I want to show you a couple other figs that are perfectly ripe. Some Smith. I may even take a quick look at some of my container figs. Look at those are works right there. I gotta reach in there and get them. Oh, there's a perfect. See what I say? Like perfectly ripe. Wow. Okay. I'll put you on pause for just a second. Here's another Ronde Bordeaux in ground. This one I picked a lot from it, which you just saw. And there's plenty getting ripe. So, here we go to pause. Hey you. Here's a hardy Chicago type. Just wanted to feature this. These figs are a little smaller than the Madeira or the Malta Black. It's a very, very hardy variety. It withstood out here in the open last year's winter uncovered and undamaged. And it's always fruitful for me, this tree. Fairly rich. Certainly not my favorite. Hardy Chicago isn't. And hands down, I prefer certain variants of the Mount Etna types. But for being a solid fig, this is a solid fig. And they are delicious. They are delicious. And this one never lets me down. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time here on this. Here's another. Looking forward to them. Here's another very good hardy Chicago type. This is a Black Greek Marius. And these are nice size. Definitely nice size Mount Etna types. And very high quality. I like this tree. There's a lot of fruit on this tree. And I'm going to sit back there and show you the ones that weren't watered, of which one of them was also a Black Greek Marius. Give me 1 second. These trees are on very high ground and very dry ground. And they should have been watered, but they weren't. It's okay. They just were overlooked. And you can see how they're taking a beating. The leaves are dropping off, and the fruit isn't coming to fruition the way it should. I mean, these last year these made spectacular. This tree made spectacular figs. Okay, and I don't have time to get into the varieties and things, but I talked about them before. But you can see, what are your figs? Situational awareness. When you see that they need just a little bit, you see them starting to droop, give them some water. Don't wait until it's too late. No matter what I do to this tree now, it's not going to do very well. Not until next year. Okay? And this I would look forward to, because these are very good figs. All right. What are your figs? I've said this before. You know, don't overwater them, but give them water. Look at this. You see, this is a neglected tree. These figs would be fuller. See? They'd be tastier. They'd be wonderful. Just like all the rest we just looked at. And all it needed was a little water. Because it's on higher ground and because it was being neglected. Just an oversight. Our son, and ironically, this is Marius. Our son's namesake. Black Greek Marius. It's a good variant of the Mount Etna types. And here we see a persimmon tree that needs some water. And you can just tell up on this high ground. It's so different than the others. It just needs water, so I'll be watering this with a sprinkler as soon as I'm finished making this video. Hold on. One more thing to show you. I'm going to have to cut this video short because I'm worried that it's going to cut off on its own very shortly. But this is just a spectacular, wonderful, look at that. I'm not going to be able to get to it because I can't get my hand under, I don't think. Well, maybe I can. Hold on. This is a perfectly ripe Bordeaux. Look at that. Divine. How I love these figs. Now that was a perfectly ripe fig, as we discussed a little earlier. But there's lots of fruit getting still ripe. This has been producing for a few weeks now. There were so many figs on it. And this is a wonderful Smith tree. And I picked some of these fruits that you saw just a little while ago. And I was eating. Here's some more perfectly ripe. Here's a absolutely perfect. Here's a perfectly ripe Smith. Let's take a bite. Exquisite. So delicious. Now yesterday that wouldn't have been as good. I'll take another here. And the day before it wouldn't have been as good as yesterday. But in this instance, tomorrow probably wouldn't be as good as today. You see, that's the difference. That's so important. Smith. Got more Smith. Come on. I've been eating these. I'm kind of addicted to all figs. If you haven't noticed, look at that. Look how beautiful. Now here's another perfectly ripe. Remember, pick them when they're perfectly ripe. Wait that extra day. How many times have you said, honestly, well, it probably could have waited another day? How many times have you seen videos where the person making the video said, well, it probably could have waited another day or two? How many times have I picked figs that I said, well, it probably could have waited another, about 5 million times. Wow, so good. Hold on, I want to show you something else. What a beautiful day, really. Hot though, hot. My black Madeira, my baby black Madeira. You remember me making these and transferring them to pots. They were air layers that I made videos about. Look how beautiful they are. So beautiful. Very nice. Put that weed out of there. Situational awareness. Situational awareness. I want to tell you a quick story. Another perfectly right Smith. And then I'll let you go. Thank you for visiting me. But let me tell you this quick story. A fella pulled up not long ago on a bike. And he said to me, he said, wow, you have such beautiful fig trees. He said, I can't help to admire your trees every time I come by. I said, thank you. He said, I love figs. I love them. He goes, I tried to grow a fig tree 2 years ago, and it died this year. And I said, well, why? What did it die from? He said, well, probably neglect. I didn't pay enough attention to it. I didn't water as often as I should. I didn't prune it. Because my wife doesn't really care for figs that much. She'll eat them, but I love them. And I said, well, wait. Let's go back a little bit. Wait a minute. Okay. You neglected, you love figs, but you neglected the tree? He goes, yeah, I admit it. I didn't pay enough attention to it. And I said, wow. And I said, do you have a pretty big yard? He goes, yeah. I said, large enough to grow more fig trees? He goes, absolutely. I said, well, why don't you grow more fig trees? If first you don't succeed, try and try again. And I want to encourage everybody out there, all the newbies, don't be discouraged if you fail. If you want to have tons of figs, you can have them too. Any fig I can do, you can do better. Yeah, that's right. There's no false modesty here. You're probably younger than I am, probably have more means than I have. You probably are smarter than I am, and you have more time than I have. But more importantly, what you have that I don't have any longer, what you have is you have all of the accumulated knowledge that's now being shared on this wonderful thing called the social media. Let's just call it YouTube in this instance. You can look at all of the videos, and some of them are by experienced growers that actually know what they're talking about. And some aren't, so you need to sort them out a bit. But there's plenty of valuable information out there. And you can learn from all that. When I started decades ago, I had none of that. It was just one Italian guy and another Italian guy, or one family guy, or my cousin Nick, or something like that, or my grandpa, or my Uncle Mario, and the experiences that we shared together. But we made it through, and we were successful. And you can be successful, so don't be discouraged. Don't ever be deterred by failure. Everyone fails. I fail. We all fail. But you can also succeed. And that's the important point here I'm trying to make. So I told him, try again. If you love figs, try again. He goes, I think you're encouraging me to do that. You're inspiring me to do so. I said, yes, by all means. And I said, and another thing, you said your wife likes figs a little, but not that much. How many different varieties has she tasted? He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, figs are like grapes, or like watermelons, or like tomatoes, or, they're like so many things. Some of them taste different than others. Did you know that there's over 700 varieties of edible figs? Some say 1,000. Different, distinguishable from one another, fig varieties, all edible? He goes, no, I didn't know that. I said, surely, even if you were to cut that down by a third, there's 250. If that's an exaggeration, let's just say there's 250 definitely different, distinguishable varieties of figs. Different colors, different shapes, different forms, different tastes, different characteristic traits. Find one that you like. She'll probably like it too. And your wife will be saying the same thing you're saying. I love figs. I'm trying to get to that perfect fig. Here's another perfect fig. Let me get to that. Oh, I see it. There it is. A Ronde Bordeaux. A perfect Ronde Bordeaux. Here we go. This makes it all worth it. Makes it all worth the effort. You can do it too. Put your first foot forward and keep moving. You can do it. You know, it reminds me, I'll just say this. I remember, I guess I'm old enough to remember what Newton said when he was praised for his discoveries in the Principia that he wrote, a wonderful, wonderful book about gravity and inertia and the motion of the heavenly bodies. And he said, and very modestly, he said, well, whatever I've achieved is because I have stood on the shoulders of giants. Can you imagine Newton saying that? Wow. One of the most brilliant, radiant minds of all history. But he made a point, a valid point, and I'm making a point too. You have all of this information out there available to you. Make good use of it. Make good use of it. Be inspired. That's why I made these videos. And for no other reason. For one reason, to share my information with you, to share my experiences with you, to share my enthusiasm with you, and to inspire you to be a figster, or to be an organic grower, or to grow persimmons, or any of the things that you've seen in my videos. To be a grower is a special, I think, distinction. It means that you have learned how to respond well with nature, to blend in with nature, if you will, to work with nature, okay? To utilize all of the forces of nature to produce things, to grow things that many, many other people never get to experience. It's a wonderful, wonderful hobby. And it's one that offers tremendous rewards. And I love it. I haven't gained monetarily from it. I haven't tried. And I don't want to. And I'm not putting that down either. We've talked about this before. It's just that the reason why I've made these videos are for you. They're for you. They're for everyone. And I hope they inspire you. That's what I tried to do when I was a teacher of young people. I tried to inspire them. And I think I accomplished my goal. I do, because many of my students still correspond with me. 45 years later, they still correspond to me. And I know that I reached them. I know that I influenced them. And that has given me a great source of gratification. So now have I inspired you? Have I? You little rascal. Have I inspired you? You cutie pie? Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. Here, go get that. Go get it. Well, with that, I'll bring this part 2 to a close. And thank you once again for visiting. Good day.